You know, I was reading on your website that you give a much more eloquent, description than just the lunatic farmer. And I'll just read this really quickly. You're a Christian libertarian, environmentalist, capitalist lunatic farmer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell us how you came up with that name and what brought you into the farming world as the lunatic.
Yeah, well, I adopted that. Look, uh, when you're a maverick, you can either be frustrated at being the outsider, or you can have fun with it. And
Yes.
for years I was this organic farmer, and so as you know, much of the early environmental and I would say still dominant environmental organic farming movement, if you will, is primarily a liberal, green. We call them greeny weeny earth muffin tree huggers, and we love them. Okay, I mean this is my people, but unlike many of them, I am philosophically conservative and politically conservative in as much as I'm virtually a libertarian. And
Mhm.
so I want to solve these problems with freedom and not with government regulatory power. And so that kind of put me at odds. And so I frankly got tired of, you know, uh, people assuming that I was for bigger teachers unions, against charter schools, for abortion, all these big hot button political issues. So I said, you know what? I can either be frustrated or I can have fun with it. So I'll make up my own moniker. And so now I have this moniker with these opposites, Christian, libertarian, environmentalist, capitalist, lunatic, and it has become a wonderful handle now, and it becomes winsome and imaginative, rather than me having to sit here and whatever, defend, backtrack, and explain. Now people can, oh, this guy does not go in a box. And if I can get that kind of out of the way at the beginning, then we're in good shape.
It's wild how people try to put you in boxes, right? Because
Oh
even
yeah.
myself, like, number one, I'm in medicine, so people say, "Oh, you're a doctor." It's like, well, I'm not. My father is, but no, I try and help doctors and
Uh,
promote. And then they go, "Oh, you're an alternative medicine. You must be a liberal, right?" It's like, why
yeah.
does that have to be that way? Like, no, like
Yes.
we automatically put people in boxes. And
Yeah.
then there's that other box of, oh, farming is farming. Like, what are we talking about here? It's just picking fruits and vegetables up. Well, we know that's not true, but for the audience that doesn't quite get it, like what is the problem right now that you know about conventional farming and most of how our food supply is grown?
Well, if you want to peel off all the layers of the onion and go to the heart of it, I would say that the problem is, as most of these at the core of these things are, as you know, in medicine, it's a philosophical perceptual problem, and that is that life is fundamentally mechanical
Hmm.
rather than biological. And so our problem is that in our Western reductionist, linear, compartmentalized, disconnected, individualized kind of thinking, we have viewed life fundamentally as a car, with parts, interchangeable parts, and you pull out this one, you put this one in, you can, remodel this one a little bit and rehab it, rather than life being fundamentally biological, in as much as it is spontaneous and responsive. And I think that is the fundamental issue, and it actually permeates, as you know, it permeates all of the entire health wellness platform is dominated in our culture right now by a mechanistic view toward life, as opposed to a biological view toward life. At least that's the way I see it. That's the way I would argue it. And so in farming, this really got its big start in 1837, when Justus von Liebig, using vacuum tubes in Austria, uh, told the world, and he was, world famous for explaining to the world that all of life is simply a rearrangement of nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. NPK. And he launched, of course, the chemical fertilizer industry with his analysis. And of course, now we know all of life is not just a rearrangement of NPK. There's DNA and mitochondria and all sorts of things, even to the point of, I'm a little older than you are. When I was I remember well in 10th grade biology, looking at cells in the microscope and being told, now, there's the nucleus and there's a mitochondria and there's a mitochondria in each cell. Well, now we know there are as many as 1,000 mitochondria in every cell, and they're all communicating, talking, trading, making. I don't want to go beyond more than we know, but I love to imagine this world, this microscopic world, as a community of beings that are um, are trading commerce. Hey, I've got some polysaccharide. I'll trade you for that boron, and they're actually talking and trading. And there's this tremendous amount of dynamism and spontaneity going on in our microbiome, in our cells, and all around us. And it's not just a machine that every time you turn the steering wheel to the right, the car turns right. The car doesn't say, this time I think I'll turn left. It never does that. But life does. Life does
Mhm.
make left-hand turns.
Right. And it seems that humans, we always want to break things down to almost mechanistic and technical terms, kind of this Newtonian A plus B must equal C sort of thing, when we know we are not machines. We don't work that way. And nature sure as hell doesn't work that way. It is much more dynamic and beautiful in that sense.